Okay, it is 12 o'clock. Morning, everybody. It is David Knox coming to you live on our first Monday Administrator and Manager webinar, Monday, December 5th, 2016. I'd like to begin by wishing you a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and as I said on our What's New video, if you're a Seinfeld fan, Happy Festivus. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and today I'd like to take you through our videos for the month, etc. So let's begin. Our next webinar is going to be Monday, January 9th. I decided that the Monday prior to that would be way too crazy, the day after the first of the year, so I said let's just give you a week. Today we'll talk about the December 2016 videos, just a couple of new features I wanted to tell you about, and the seminar that I did at the NAR convention, Decruit Before You Recruit. I thought I would take you through some of the key points on that. Here's what is new for our December videos. As always, we begin with our What's New for December 2016, and it's a short video just saying here's what we had. And KFDO5, next First Tuesday 105, parts 1 and 2, we interviewed a young gentleman from a local real estate company, and he just does some of the basic good fundamentals of working his neighborhood and getting listings. And nothing that he does is magical or expensive or requires a lot of technology, yet he is a pretty high-tech guy. And I just think you're going to find those videos to be very helpful to get your agents out, and if nothing else, get listings out of your neighborhood. I was talking to somebody yesterday, one of our members, and he said, I don't think I could ever get the agent to knock on doors. I said, I don't suppose door knocking is for everybody, but my gosh, at least knock on the doors around your listing. So this might get him into the spirit. The next videos we did, Facebook. My gosh, as you know, every time we release a video on Facebook, something happens, they change the interface, they change something. So the author of Facebook Me, Dave All, is on our staff, or one of our faculty, and he has updated Real Estate Live 11-4, 5, and 6. And so you can tune into those and see a new updated page. As you know, we have our email that goes out every month, and this is the one that just went out on Saturday. And we urge you to forward it to your agent. So I remind you again, we do not email your agents. We won't do that under any circumstances unless they happen to be on some other marketing list. But as far as RET goes, we don't email them. So we require or encourage the administrators to forward this email to your agents so they can log in. We do have our Facebook page. I think the last time we did this webinar, we had some settings that were off, so we fixed our settings. And if you go into our news item, in fact, let me show you something else. I'm going to go to our site live right now. If you click on What's New for December, here's all of our topic lists. Remember, we add our topic list. If you click on this, it'll take you right to the Facebook page. So that is up, it's live, we posted, and here's a comment from Peggy. Thanks for the opportunity to participate in this group. Seems to be working. By the way, I should let you know that some of our other member companies are using company-closed Facebook pages to communicate with their agents. So it works for them, and I'm hoping this works. So I would urge you to please, if you could, maybe take this link, email it to all of your agents, and get them to join the Facebook page. It would be great if ideally we can get 70–80% of our members on it, and then when I do updates, they're going to see it because they're on Facebook, probably too much. So next, we had a request from a company that says, when we bring new agents on, they sometimes get in your system and they get overwhelmed because there's just so many videos in there. Could you help us and maybe suggest 3 videos for each group of the new agents, rising stars, and top producers? And it's hard to pick because there's so many good ones, but I picked ones that I think are not only good but short. So this is a document I created. It's in Microsoft Word, so you can edit it and do whatever you want, and you can put your own videos in using the email link to video feature. The other one we did was on action plans. Another request from Vicki Kelly was when we introduce action plans, we'd like to give them a promotional thing that talks about how they work and what the benefits are. And if you'd like those, there's 2 ways to get it. One, I put them as documents in this webinar. So there should be a place where you can download these documents. But number 2 is just log into the training, click on Manager Resources, and you will see that both of those documents are there as of right now. And remember, they're in Microsoft Word. And by the way, if you have any other ideas on documents that you think would be helpful, let me know, and we'll create them for you. So now, let me just pause. Before I get into our topic, I just want to pause and see if any of you have any questions. And by the way, I'm going to do a little involvement exercise in a minute, so I'd like all of you to be familiar with the questions area where you can type in, like Bill Morshek just said, Merry Christmas to you and your great staff. Thank you, Bill. He knows how to use the question area. So if you guys would all find that and be ready, because I'm going to do a little involvement exercise where I'm going to ask you some things. You just type in some answers. Let's see, some other people are typing. Randall, I'm familiar with the questions area. Thanks, Randall. Before I go, are there any other questions that you guys have on our training, on the interface, on the site, suggestions, anything at all? Because now is a good time. So I'm going to just pause, look at this. Here it is, got it. I assume you guys are referring to the documents I uploaded, Stephanie and Kelly. Okay, I'm waiting a little bit more, see if anybody else has any suggestions. While you're thinking about it, people have asked me a question. They said, how in the world do you keep coming up with new topics after all these years? What in the world is new? And I said, you know what? It's one of our most challenging jobs. So we end up getting more molecular and focusing on more fine points of any topic, and we also, you know, try to get agent views on some of the things. So I would love some topic suggestions from any of you, all of you. The more narrow, the better. In other words, if you say we want a video on prospecting, well, I need something far more narrow than that. So I'm still waiting to see if anybody has any questions or comments on our training portal, anything you'd like to see. Okay, I'm going to show you one other thing. This didn't get into the PowerPoint, so I'm just going to show you live. When you go to Manage Accountability now, one of the concerns that people have mentioned was that when you go in to edit it, you have to scroll forever. In fact, I think, Vinny, you were on this call. If you go into Preview, you will now see that instead of scrolling 38 miles down, we have the Expand Collapse. So you can click on Business Planning and see just that section. And this is, of course, where you can move them up and down. So anyway, we made that much, much easier for you. So as you scroll down and you click on one section, that opens and the other one closes. So I hope you like that feature. Just going to do any more look for questions. Okay, I am ready to take you through a quick overview of the presentation I did at the NAR convention, Decruit Before You Recruit. And the first thing that I've talked about in my recruiting sessions is if you want to recruit agents to your company, you have to be the place to be. And pretty much any of you on this webinar are members of our training, and if you're a member of the training, obviously you're already the kind of company that cares about your agents, wants to train and provide for them, so you are the place to be. So your existing agents must be proud to sell your office. You know the number one source of, you know, buyers and sellers is from previous customers and clients. Number one source of new agents can be from your current staff. So you got to recruit your own agents first. I recommend you meet with each one of your agents regularly and just find out how they're doing. How can you help? What do they need? Now, our accountability plans give you a really good reason to do that. And then the purpose of this webinar, seminar, is to decruit the unproductive agents. I can't tell you how many people that, you know, I'll talk about our training. They say, well, gosh, you know, half my agents aren't watching your training. And I said, are they doing anything else? Are they listing? Are they selling? Are they showing up in meetings? No. Then why don't you fire them? We, in this industry, just continue to keep people that do not belong in this industry. And here's a book I'm thinking of writing. It's called Your Agents Won't Do Anything. I know it's a cynical view of the world, but if you've ever read the book A Road Less Traveled by Scott Peck, the first 3 words in the book are, life is difficult. And he goes on to say, if you can handle those first 3 words of my book, that life is difficult. Let's go on and continue life and accept it's difficult. So if all of you listening just can accept your agents won't do anything. So when people say, oh, my agents wouldn't watch, they wouldn't show up, they don't come to meetings. Well, of course, because they won't do anything. And by the way, the agents who will do anything are either A, your top producers, or B, they open up another company and they go someplace else. So we got to come up with a byline for this book, and maybe the answer to your agents won't do anything is because sometimes management won't do anything to get them to do things. So question I always ask is, should you hire first or fire first? This is your first involvement exercise, so just type in either hire or fire in the questions area. Oh, come on, you guys, type in something. Okay, Randall, good. He was the first one with fire first. Keep going, you guys. Just type it in, click enter. I got another. Bill Morshak says fire. Monica says fire. Josh, fire. Kelly says hire. Julie, hey, Julie, he said fire. Stephanie, fire. Okay, thank you for your response. The answer is, what would you rather have, an empty kennel or a dead dog? So my belief is you need to fire first. It's this could be a more sensitive example, but should you marry first or divorce first? I think you pretty much have to extricate yourself from any current relationship before you're ready for another one. And I think any counselor will tell you you are in no good a shape to start another relationship till you have totally let go of the one you're in. So the answer is, you gotta fire first, because you can't bring in good blood when you got bad blood there. So the answer is, please, please, please let them go first. And you can say, well, I'm going to have an empty kennel. Fine, I'd rather have an empty desk than some pet rock gagging and wheezing in your office. So here's another exercise. So get ready with your keyboard. I want each of you to pick 3 candidates that you would like to be gone when you're done with this webinar. Think of 3 people that when you drive to the office you go, oh no, they're here. You know who I'm thinking about. I did this in the NAR convention. I was walking around the room making sure everybody wrote the names down. And by the way, I don't want you to give me those names. That's not the part of this exercise. But I want you to write them down on your own paper. Don't type those into questions, because I don't want them to show up anywhere. Yeah, I just got Julie's answer to me, fire first. Okay. So anyway, when I was walking around at NAR and doing this exercise, some people raised their hand and said, do I have to limit it to just 3? And then I had another one who was a small office say, I can only do 2. And I said, why is that? Well, because the third one's my wife. So, okay, I get the point, but you see where I'm trying to take you guys. So here's the exercise. Ready? I want to hear your answer to this. I want you to answer this question. Why do you want to fire these people? Why do you wish they'd be gone at the end of this webinar? So go ahead, start typing. I'll read them off as you do it. Why do you want to fire them? Angie says dysfunctional. Ashley says no production. Monica, toxic personality, poor attitude, non-productive. Josh, negativity. Thank you guys. I love it. I get some involvement. Bill Morshak, not team players. Julie Giles, toxic. We got 2 votes for toxic. Thanks, Julie. Brooke, if they aren't participating in learning, they are potential liabilities. Oh, are they ever? Stephanie, non-producer, doesn't come to any meetings, doesn't participate. She ruins the culture of our meetings and advises our new agents incorrectly. Oh, my untrainable. Oh, this is great. I got to save some of these. Hanger-oners, not productive and not interested in growing the business, don't participate. Set the tone, the level of production performance is acceptable, that level is. Oh, you guys are funny. You make me laugh. I can't prove that they are here by production, so who needs them? I almost have to cut this off. Oh, I forgot. Negative Norman. Josh, doesn't buy into the company culture. Oh, you guys are funny. Here's a list that I had at the NAR, and I guess you're matching the list. Let's see if there's any other lack initiative, drag down the office, meetings, training, they're disruptive, poison the pool, or toxic, bad for the industry, bad for clients, they suck your will to live. Okay, do any of you want to guess what my next slide is going to be? Anybody? Come on. I just want to see if anybody can guess what my next PowerPoint slide is going to be. Randall says fire them. Of course the answer is fire them, but guess what my next slide is going to be? The first one was, why do you want to fire them? What do you think the next slide is going to be? The Nike phrase, just do it. Yeah, there you go. Angie, Angie hit on it. Why haven't you fired them yet? And that is it. Why do you keep them? Why do you keep these people? And I'll tell you what, it's the same thing. This is part 2 of the exercise. I want to find out, why do you keep these people? By the time you list all this horrible, dysfunctional, toxic negativity, I'm thinking, why do you keep them? So come on, tell me the truth. Why do you keep these people? Kelly says how to fire. We're going to talk about firing in a minute, but I just need to ask you a question. Why do you keep these people? Come on. Fear of confrontation. Ashley, thank you. That's a very honest answer. I totally share that with you. It's easy. I assume you meant it's easy to not fire them, perhaps. Fear. Ja, thank you. They are nice. Thank you. You guys are hitting on Monica. Thank you. Yeah, they are nice people. We assume they are not costing us any money if they pay their bills. Oh, they're costing us. Maybe they don't cost us money. Been around for a long time. Friends I have in the office. Vinny, that's a good one. And by the way, people have told me about, a woman has been in the office. She's a senior citizen. She's been around for 35 years. She brings coffee and cookies, and it feels hard to just get her whacked. Costing image and perception, intermittent production. All right, let me go through. You guys have hit on why we keep them, and Monica, we're nice people. They're nice people. Think about that. The people, we are nice people. We are, and the thought of firing somebody, it's not nice to do. I don't like to do it. I did have one person years ago. I want to hire the person back so I can fire them again, but it was hard to do that. So we're nice people. They're nice people. And let's pause on that one, because I might be joking around about firing these people, but they are nice people. They came in, they're probably good mothers, they're good fathers, they go to church, they raise their children, they donate to charity. They are, in fact, really nice human beings, but what they're not is salespeople. It's difficult to fire somebody. For any of you, if you think it's easy to fire somebody, then, probably in the wrong business. It is not easy to fire somebody. It's painful. And the belief that someday they might what? Might list something, might sell something, might recruit somebody, I don't know, someday. This is the most dysfunctional answer I ever got out of an audience. They actually said, I don't want to fire them because they're going to go to a competitor. Really? It's like, how come you're not divorcing your wife? Because somebody else would probably marry her. It's really crazy. Let them go to a competitor. Let them go. And what happens is, and this is interesting, people who are unproductive often replace that with being really nice. That is a dysfunctional defense mechanism to keep you from holding them accountable for results. And after a while, we stop buying into it. You've got to stop buying into it. Yeah, they're nice, but they work for you because they're supposed to give results. So are they busy or are they productive? So,
hi, this is Larry Kendall.
Let me, I'm going to do something here. I got to turn up my volume because this is Larry Kendall. I ran into him at the NAR convention. I said, Larry, I'm doing a seminar on decruiting, and I want to hear your feedback. So let's play this again.
Hi, this is Larry Kendall with Ninja Selling. This is the fourth quarter of the year, and this is the time. It's a great time for recruiting. It's also the best time for de-recruiting. What you want to do is, in the fourth quarter, make room for the new people to come in, and you don't want to keep the dead wood with you in the fourth quarter. You don't want to start the new year. You want to start the new year with your big team, and you don't want the hangers on. And the fourth quarter is the best time to decruit. If there's people that aren't making it and they need a different career, a different path, help them with that in the fourth quarter.
And the best way to help them might be is to get this new book. Thank you, Larry. By the way, Larry Kendall, that I would highly recommend that book. let me go back to some of the other answers, and I think a couple of you mentioned it, that there's a belief that they don't cost me anything, so if they sell anything, it's profit to me. Only about 5 of 20 produce, and only a few show up every couple of months. These are quotes I've heard from people. I know I should let them go, but it hasn't been our style. That is a quote unquote from somebody. And he is, by the way, the guy said that is an incredibly nice guy, and I cannot imagine him ever firing anybody. But the top one is just amazing to me. This was a company that had a whole bunch of people that, I don't know, like 50 of them never ever sold anything, and they actually had a belief that if they sell one thing, it's profit. I don't know, it's crazy. Here's what Harvey MacKay said on firing, and he asked this question: how do you know when you should fire somebody? Anybody want to guess the answer to that? How do you know when you should fire somebody? As soon as you think of it is the answer to that. And then he went on to say it's not the agents you fire that cause you problems, it's the ones you keep. So how do you know you should fire somebody? As soon as you think about it. I know I kind of got that out of order, but here, I'm going to go back to here. And I'd like all of you just ponder for a minute. I'm sure all of you had to let somebody go, and at the time you let them go, think about this. Do you wish you had waited, or do you wish you'd have done it a day, a week, a month, or years sooner? In most cases, people go, gosh, I wish I'd done that a year ago. So when you think of it, it's time to let them go. Here's another lady talking about firing.
We just talked about this, the importance of getting rid of the baggage in your office, and I think that's so important because sometimes those people are absolutely lovely, but there are others who are complete poison, and when they sit in your office, they drag you down, drag down your mood, and they make you not want to go into the office and work. So it's not always a bad thing, but I do think you have to identify those people and be clear that this is the decision you want to make.
Thank you very much, Tracy. So let's talk about how to fire them. First thing, I want to be, like I said, we can come across really harsh when we're talking about firing, but in the real world, I think people deserve a chance. And I think if you want to deal with human fairness and integrity and state law, federal law, etc., before you just fire somebody, maybe there's a better way. Maybe we can set them up to fire themselves and or succeed. So for those of you who wrote down the names of the agents, and seriously, I hope you all literally have a list of specific agents that you can think about for the rest of this webinar. What you do is set up a meeting with this person, and you intentionally give them a day or two notice. And what you do is say, hey, agent, what I'd like to do is I'd like to set up a meeting to discuss your performance. You know, what's Thursday at 3 o'clock like for you? Well, you know, the answer to that is the same as any time on any day. It's just a complete white slate. Here's what their schedule looks like on Thursday. Pure white screen. This is what it looks like on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. They got nothing, all right? I got nothing. So what you do is say, I would like to discuss your performance to date. And you give them 2 days. What's going to happen? You tell them to bring a list of the transactions, prospects, and activities. We're going to go home, and our husband or wife's going to say, so how was your day? Well, Monica wants to meet with me on Thursday to discuss my performance. And the spouse is going to go, what performance? You haven't sold anything in the last 3 years. Carter was in office the last time you sold something. So what they're going to do is think about this. And they got to get ready for that meeting, and they got to ponder the outcome of it, and they may just fire themselves. They might just call you up and say, you know, I know you want to talk about my performance, and I really haven't done much this year, and, you know, my husband and I talked it over, my wife and I talked it over, and you know what, this business just really isn't for me, and I've decided that I need to go. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Thank you, thank you, thank you. They will fire themselves and realize that this business, it's time to go someplace else. So then you don't have to fire them all, they fire themselves. Then, if they do show up at the meeting, great, we better be ready for that. And you bring them into the meeting, sit down, and you just allow them to evaluate themselves and say, you know, how would you evaluate performance? You go, well, it's really good, you know, I'm really working, you know, I love houses and I love people. Well, that's because you haven't worked with any yet. But my performance is really good. Well, how many listings do you have this year? Well, I had 1. And what happened to that? Well, it expired because it was overpriced. Do you have any buyers? I had 2. So when you really sit down and look at it, it's like somebody says, yeah, I've lost some weight. Well, let's put you on a scale. Looks like you gained 7 pounds, so I don't know what you're talking about. And then have a conversation. What has been working? What needs improvement? And then a question you want to ask is, and this is the hard one, just say, let me ask you something. Do you want to continue in this business? I told you the story of Del Bain confronting me in my first CRS course where I completely bombed and died. And we sat down and he said, David, you know, I can give you some feedback on your presentation today, but let me ask you, do you really want to do this? And I said, you mean speak? Yeah. He says, do you really want to do this? I said, well, yeah, I do. And he says, well, you got a lot of work to do then. And that was a turning point for me. You've heard me tell that story. But do you want to continue in this business? And they might just say, you know, maybe not. It's not working for me. Or they'll say, yeah, I really want to. And then if they want to continue in the business, then we can talk about it. But if you decide you want to fire these people, here's how to fire somebody. And I'll continue my thought on the other part of it. If you are going to fire somebody, fire them before you all take your seats. So if you know ahead of time that this person need to fire, maybe they're doing stuff that's immoral, illegal, violates code of ethics, where you flat out do not want to give them a chance, you invite them in, and as you close the door, you say the purpose of this meeting is to let you go. And that way the firing is done before you even sit down. Because you know what's going to happen? You sit down, oh, my dog is sick today, and oh, I got to fix my car. And pretty soon they suck you into that niceless defense, and then you can't do it. So you just say, you know, the purpose of this meeting is to let you go. Go ahead and take a seat. And then what happens is your stress is gone because you've already fired them. So now it's just a matter of having a conversation and explain the parting process or procedure. And I want to be clear on this. You know, we're talking about pretty serious event in somebody's life, but remember, they're good people. They should depart with dignity, and just say, you know what, Barb, this business isn't for everybody. You know, you gave it your best shot, and I wish you well in your future, and it was great having you around. If we can do anything for you, let me know, and let them depart with dignity. And for a lot of reasons. A, you are nice people, they are nice people, and you sure as hell don't want somebody leaving and being horribly upset or thinking that you did something wrong. And I also think when you're going to do this, it should be done, don't make a public spectacle out of it. This has to be private. You really don't want anybody else to see this. So when should you fire? I say do it on a Friday so you can have a good weekend. Because you say, I'm going to wait till Monday. Now the whole weekend you're thinking, oh, how am I going to do this? So do it on a Friday, and maybe do it end of the day if you can get them to come in, because then it's, you know, it's not a spectacle in front of the other agents. And but your other agents will hear about it. And it's kind of like on The Godfather, where they say, where's Paulie? Oh, Paulie, won't see him no more. I love that line. And what's going to happen is all the other agents in the office are going to go, hey, what happened to Paulie? Well, you won't see Paulie no more. And pretty soon they realize, you know, Paulie didn't sell any real estate. He couldn't list. He couldn't sell. He was negative. He was toxic, and they made him go away. And it's going to be like a scene in The Godfather where everybody in your office is going to come in and kiss your hand and go, today, we'll settle our family business. Toxic agents, they're gone. Non-productive agents, gone. What about Paulie? Gone. Couldn't do nothing about it. But when you start letting the bad agents go, the other agents are going to respect you, and they're going to wake up and go, oh, maybe it's time I should sell something or list something. So Ed is a powerful, powerful message. Now, let's go back to the other one. Maybe you decide you want to give them that one last try. So you give them a final challenge before they go. You bring compassion to firing. Remember, you hired them. You want to be sure you did all that you could. And this is where you would establish a 30-day plan. And we have a Knox management training that addresses this. But as you sit down with the agent you left off and you say, do you really want to be in this business? They, yeah, I really do. I love houses. I love people. I want to stay in it. And they say, do I have your permission to hold you accountable for some specific measurable behaviors over the next 4 weeks? And perhaps this is where we have an action plan, the 4-week action plan of specific things that they've got to do. And you say, what do you think is a reasonable outcome at the end of this month? And the key here is you can't hold them accountable for listings and sales, because in a real world that belongs to the buyers and sellers. They're the ones that control it. But you can hold them accountable to specific behavior. So if this was a weight loss clinic, I don't know that I could specifically say you have to lose 5 pounds by the end of the month, but you have to prove to me that you did 20 minutes of exercise 5 days a week, you had 3 meals, no more than X calories, boom, 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 and you have specific behaviors. So it's axiomatic. If they stick with the behavior, the end result will follow. So hold them accountable to specific measurable behaviors, schedule regular follow-up meetings. I don't know, you pick the time, you pick the place, I don't know, make it up. Every Thursday at 10 or something, they come in, and you have a chat with them, or do it on a Friday. So if on the fourth Friday they have not done the behaviors that they agreed to do, then you can say, you know, when you and I met at the beginning of this month, we agreed that if you didn't hold 4 open houses, 4 of these, 10 of these, 9 of these, whatever, that we're going to let you go. So as of this, per the agreement we had, I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to let you go from the company and send your license back in and say goodbye. So I think it's a compassionate way to fire them. Now, here's what might happen. What do you think is going to happen? You know, you take a look at this timeline, and you're holding them accountable for prospecting, fieldwork, training sessions. This is where you use our accountability plans, office involvement. What might happen is on the 3rd Friday, the agent calls you up and says, "Hey, Monica, I gotta reschedule our Friday meeting. Why? What's going on?" "Well, I got a listing appointment, and I got these 2 buyers that want to see it, and I've got an appointment here." And pretty soon these agents take off, and they're productive, and they're excited, and they're happy because they got a listing, they got a sale, they got buyers, they got appointments, and then they come to you and, "Oh, thank you so much for your help. Gosh, I'm so busy." You say, "Oh, great. No, we can talk on Monday, whatever." And now instead of firing them, you can congratulate them for having a wonderful growth in their income. And anybody on this webinar, you're only on this webinar and you're only involved in training because you do in fact care about improving the lives of another human being, and the joy of watching them grow as a person and make money. I mean, that's a wonderful thing to be able to do for another human being. So that's got to be exciting. So then they're going to go tell everybody else, "Wow, we went on this action plan with you know, Vinny, and Vinny's helped me grow my business," and they're excited. The other thing that might happen is they call you on one of those Fridays and say, "You know, I've been thinking it over. This is just way too hard. It's just not working for me, and I've talked it over with my spouse, and I've just decided I think it's time for me to go." So either way, they're either up, they're out. There is no bad outcome to this. You've held them accountable. You did it properly. You did it with compassion. You did it with specific behavior, and now these people are either successes, off they go, or they decide to leave the business. It's a beautiful thing. Now, we've got some progress reporting forms that you can use, and they're available in the site, and you can just print this out and make it your own, and use this as a way of coaching your agents. And here's what it looks like up close. You can go down and say, let's take a look at all these behavioral events. What's your goal? What's the actuals? At the end, when you sit down with them on Friday, you can compare the two and see how they're doing. We also have a daily contact log. This is another way where they just, every time they make a call, you put a line through a number, and if they answer the phone, it's an X. If it's an appointment, you circle it, and we talk about that. So where can you get these? Right here, KMT07 30-day up or out plan. Here it is. It's a 21-minute video, and the worksheets that I just showed you are in the support materials. So I think it should help you manage these agents. So in summary, fire, but before you do, give them one last chance. See if you can save these people. Hold them accountable to specific measurable activities. And if they meet them, keep them. If not, let them go. And that way you know you have done the right thing. So I think do this do it before 2017 starts, and maybe do it now rather than, I wouldn't want to do this on Christmas Eve, but you get the point. We as management have to make sure that we have proper teams going into 2017 and people that you believe in, because you're going to set the standard for the rest of 2017. So I also remind you that our online consumer videos are up and running. You can get it on our mobile app. And we do have company subscriptions, so for those of you who would be interested in hearing more about those, give me a call. And I want to wrap up 2 things. Number 1, if you have any other questions or comments on this presentation that I just did, let me know. And while I'm waiting for those, Monica just says, "Thanks, David. Merry Christmas." Monica, Merry Christmas to you and all of you. And I just didn't. I end this year with gratitude for all of you who are members for online training. As I've said many times, all we do around here is think, how can we make this product better? How can we make the service better? How can we help our members engage their agents? So remember, you can Skype me into your sales meetings. That seems to really wake up viewership. If you want me to do a webinar to your management teams, I'm happy to do that as well. But again, I am so grateful for your business. I thank you, and I wish you the best for the holiday season. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording. And if you have any questions, I'm going to stay on board here. So Rob, you can go ahead and end the recording, but I'm going to stay on the webinar. to see if anybody has any questions.